Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Cinema. I am Money Mike, and coming off another major wrestling weekend, AEW All Out and Wrestlepalooza on the same day. And it got me thinking, which company right now is providing the most value for your buck? Or in AEW's case, Young Bucks. Okay, then that was a lot better in my head. But with the increasing costs of tickets in the WWE and the less that we're getting from the WWE in return, maybe it's time for fans to start tuning into AEW where you are getting more bang for your buck when it comes to your money. And I want to do a direct comparison of AEW All Out and Wrestlepalooza because you have to remember Wrestlepalooza was a PLE not originally on the card or on the calendar year for the WWE. This was done in order to counter program AEW once again. Again, I talked about WWE countering AEW, so you can go ahead and check that video out up here. And I think it's kind of interesting what we've seen over the past few months or so when it comes to the WWE, AEW, the counter programming that's going on. And I think it's getting to that point where I think we as fans have got to kind of realize, well, AEW is kind of starting to build a little bit of momentum, and I think they can take advantage of the WWE giving fans less for more money, whereas AEW is giving more for your money. So let's go ahead, break this down here. AEW All Out, Wrestlepalooza 2025. I broke this down. The amount of wrestlers on each show, how many championship matches per show. All right, so let's go ahead, start with Wrestlepalooza, because again, Wrestlepalooza was done in order to counter program AEW. And there was a lot of talk heading into this show, the big debut on ESPN for the WWE. And yes, you have to pay $30 a month for this, along with so many other subscription services just to keep up with WWE storylines. But was it really worth $30 a month? And quite honestly, no. Now let's look at the Wrestlepalooza card. You have John Cena, Brock Lesnar. All right, big name, big rivalry. Obviously, this match was sold on the names of Brock Lesnar and John Cena. There was not much story attached to it. We didn't even know why he attacked John Cena at SummerSlam. So Brock never gave us that answer of why he did it from a storyline perspective. Next, you had Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed of the Vision against the Usos. Then the first championship match of two, by the way, on this card. The first championship match, the vacant women's championship, Stephanie Vakir versus not Naomi, Io Sky. Great match. These two, awesome chemistry. I feel like when Stephanie and Io are in the ring, it feels like we're getting a WrestleMania match, not at WrestleMania. Like, these two are absolutely great together in that ring. Then we move on to CM Punk, AJ Lee, the returning AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. A fun little tag team match that was. AJ Lee made Becky Lynch tap out. Obviously, I think that's probably going to set up a Women's Intercontinental Championship match at Crown Jewel. And then the main event was your second championship match of the night. two of two, only two championship matches on what was a 5-match card. Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre. Again, the match happened, and I said this in my predictions. I hope Cody and Drew get to go on kind of more of a prolonged feud, just because I want to see them tell the story between Cody and Drew and how they both had to basically get their release in order to prove their worth to the WWE to become the top stars that they are today. Now, for that card, for Wrestlepalooza, that is 14 total wrestlers and 2 championship matches among 5 matches. Okay? Now, let's go over to AEW. Let's go to Toronto for All Out. Now, AEW had 4 pre-show matches. I am not counting them, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, overall, you had Adam Copeland, Christian Cage reunited against FTR. You had a surprise appearance by Beth Copeland, formerly known as Beth Phoenix. And then, of course, if you count Stokely as well, then you had Eddie Kingston versus Big Bill, Mark Briscoe versus MJF, trios match, The Demand versus the Hurt Syndicate. Then you had a championship match, one of 4 championship matches, by the way. Mercedes Moné against Rio. And again, mind you, this was the first of 4 championship matches on the AEW card. Then you had Okada, Takeshita, and then Mascara Dorada for the Unified Championship, which was 3 wrestlers, triple threat match. Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin. Then a fatal 4-way women's championship match for the AEW Women's Championship. Chris Statlander, Toni Storm, Jamie Hayter, and newcomer Thekla. I think I know I'm butchering that name. Thekla, I think it is, but still another championship match. Then you had a fatal 4-way ladder match for the tag team championships, in which you saw Brodidio, Young Bucks, Jet Speed, and Don Callis, 2 members of the Don Callis family. And then the main event, which was Hangman Adam Page versus Kyle Fletcher for the AEW World Championship. Now, that's 35 total wrestlers on this show and 4 championship matches on a card that was, and I'm looking at here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10. So out of 10 matches, 40% of the matches on a 10-match AEW card was championship matches. Okay, two championship matches for the WWE on a 5-match card. You do the math on that one. All right. I think it's clear, AEW is providing the most value for your money at this point. These 5-match cards, the WWE is relying on big names. I talked about John Cena or Brock Lesnar not really having a story attached to it. It was just reliant on the names of John Cena and Brock Lesnar. When you go to Monday Night Raw, you go to SmackDown, you don't see many of the top stars wrestle, and I've seen many other content creators point this out, where you might just get a promo or 2. I mean, sure, they might do it. Sure, you might see Cody Rhodes do a dark match, maybe Rhea Ripley, but again, you don't see them on TV. The TV audience don't. Now, the live audience, there they will. That's great and everything from the live crowd. But when you're tuning in and all you on TV to Netflix, and you're paying whatever you're paying for Netflix, and all you get is a Cody Rhodes promo, or you don't even get to see Rhea Ripley. Like, again, I look at this card and I'm like, for WrestlePalooza, there was no Rhea Ripley, even though she gets the biggest pop among all the women on the roster. Um, Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion, didn't even defend his championship because he was in a tag team match. You had Becky Lynch, the Women's Intercontinental Champion, also in a tag team match. You have the Women's United States Championship, which, I mean, let's be honest here. What is going on with Julia? She's a great wrestler who could elevate that championship, but they're not doing nothing with her. So that championship is missing from the card. There's no Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, one of the most popular baby faces on your roster. He's a United States champion. Why wasn't there a U.S. Open challenge? What happened to Jacob Fatu? Where's Solo Sikoa? Bailey just made her return. There's so many top names missing that you don't see every week on these shows where it's like, man, is it really worth the value for the WWE? If you're a fan, you're going, wait a minute, what? I'm not seeing their top stars. Now, look, I get it. You know, fans have said in the past, oh, we need an off season. Wrestlers need off. Now, I get it. Triple H has made things a lot better from that standpoint. You know, the wrestlers have more time off, and that's great. I don't need them to be wrestling every week. But when you're asking us to subscribe to all these different services, when you're asking us to do all that, you know, and you're not giving us a lot in return, why are we as fans going to keep going back to you? Why are we going to pay $30 a month? Why are we going to say subscribe to Peacock just so we can watch John Cena's final match and so we can keep watching Saturday Night's Main Event? You know, why are we going to keep our Netflix subscription when you're not giving us as much as you used to? Now you go to AEW. Let's say AEW Dynamite's in your town. You might actually get a John Moxley match. You might see Hangman Adam Page wrestle on TV. I'm not talking about dark matches. John Moxley, Hangman, Darby. You'll see their top stars on TV wrestling every week. And like I said, on a 10-match card on a pay-per-view, 40% of the matches were championship matches. You know, the very show that the WWE was trying to counter program was relying on the names of guys like John Cena, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk. Oh, here's a returning AJ Lee. They were relying on the names to sell this show, and then when they didn't really deliver any big surprises, and it turned out to be like a Saturday Night's Main Event, that made probably a lot of people go, why are we paying $30 a month for this? You know, even ESPN itself wrote an article reviewing the show and gave it a C grade. What does that tell you when ESPN writes an article saying that the show, this big hype show, only was worth a C grade? You know what I mean? So, compared to AEW, you see more top stars, you see more championships defended, and you're going to get more matches on a pay-per-view card. So in the end, I think fans need to start tuning in to AEW more. We need to keep putting the pressure on the WWE to make them give us more like they used to. I want you guys to comment below, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think AEW provides more for your buck when it comes to the value of the money you're spending on AEW versus the WWE? And speaking of spending money, tomorrow on this channel, WrestleMania 42 tickets go on sale Wednesday. So I will go over ticket prices and I will give you my experience at WrestleMania 41 from earlier this year. I've been your host, Money Mike, and you've been watching Ringside Cinema.